Okay, Jasmine here. Gonna do an update because y'all need one, and I've been avoiding it because I don't like what I heard. So, yeah, so this week was week 3 at the Mayo Clinic, and we essentially got no further answers, but not no how. I don't really know how to recap this, so we're just gonna jump right in, right? So, all the symptoms like the chest tightness, the headaches, the vision, the blurry vision, the spots in the vision, the cough, all those symptoms they're putting over in this category, and they are putting the leg and pelvic paralysis in this category over here. So all of these are very easily explained by post-viral fatigue syndrome, post-viral dysautonomia, and just good old Yakata virus, that category. This category over here is we don't know what the heck is going on, and we're putting it into this little box, and we're going to put a label on it called functional. So the functional diagnosis is basically we've tested the brain, we've tested the leg, we understand this part's working, we understand this part's working, but the communication between the two parts, there's a failure somewhere between the two. And so historically, functional diagnoses were very like, oh my god, it's all hysteria, they're making it up, it's all in their head, they're clinically just insane, bonkers people. Thankfully, while I am a little cray-cray, thankfully that's not really the case anymore. The last decade or so, they've really changed their tune as far as getting people with functional diagnoses actual real help instead of just sending them to a psychiatrist and giving them a bunch of meds. While there can be some psychiatric aspects to it, they're really starting to key on the fact like if you do really specific types of rehab, they have very good prognoses. And so treatment plans for the two types, these we're just managing with medication, what symptoms I have. I've got to just get through the day with these. You guys know I'm not a huge medication fan. I'm usually more of an herbal girl. So this is a little bit hard for me to swallow right now. Literally, some of these pills are massive. No, this is a little hard for me to swallow just because I feel like it's just trashing my body. But whatever, I'm gonna get through this, right? Some of these symptoms, the dysautonomia-based symptoms are not a guarantee to be healed, but they're also not a guarantee to stick around either. So they don't know what those are going to do. The heart rate, the blood pressure, all those things, they're just going to watch it. We're going to monitor those symptoms, and we'll remove medications as they recover, which is the goal, right? We want that. And then basically it's just rest and support your body as you can there. These symptoms, the pelvic paralysis and leg paralysis, those ones, because they've now ruled them as functional, they don't have any test out there to prove there's anything wrong. Prove that there's anything wrong with the limb itself, like an organic structural thing that's wrong. There's no broken bones, there's no, nothing's pinching off a nerve, there's nothing structurally they can see. Because that's the case on this, they're going to go ahead and treat it like functional. The course of action for functional is to go to a very specific type of a rehabilitation program that literally the whole goal is to trick the muscles into working like they know they can, like they're supposed to behave. And so the goal with that would be to start with 1 week of very awesomely intense therapy. The neurologist was so kind. He was very sweet when he was breaking it to me. I'm like, dude, I've been talking to my therapist for a week now, trying to prep myself for this diagnosis. Essentially, I was like, look, lay it to me straight. I'm a biologist and a chemist. I got this, go for it. And so we talked a little bit about some research articles and stuff like that. It was very cool of him. He was very reassuring that it was not a psychiatric diagnosis, that it really is a weird thing to sit between psychiatric and neurologic, that there's really, it doesn't fit into either because we know both ends are working, so to speak. It's not that, it's a connection error. So he gave the computer example that my husband loved, that was it's not a hardware problem, it's a software program. How it's operating the equipment is the problem, not that the equipment is the problem itself. And so it was very reassuring about that, and I really appreciated that. knowing that your girl here is a little cray-cray, I'm not full-blown cray-cray. So, very validating. But essentially, when I go to this rehab facility, they're going to, ask me to do a particular action that my leg, it may be nothing related to actually moving the leg itself, but that I have to focus on something else. My brain is completely distracted, but the muscles still fire in the leg. When that happens, then we're going to continue repeating that action while gradually bringing the mind back to focus with the muscles itself. So basically we have to repeat the action until we can converge the two thoughts again. If the two thoughts can't converge cohesively, like what I used to be able to think, hey, move your big toe, and oh, the big toe moves. If that doesn't work, then they're going to essentially teach me different ways to think about something in order to move the leg. So if I need to say, twitch your right eye and there goes your left leg, well, then that's what I need to think about. I don't know that that's just a baloney example, but you get what I'm saying. They're going to distract the brain to try and trick the leg into working. He was extremely positive when talking about this, and said, he's seen people who have gone from wheelchair to walking in a week's time. He's also seen people in wheelchairs never recover. No big deal. We got this. I was like, I'm like, are you encouraging me or discouraging me right now? I can't really tell where we're going with this conversation. But that ultimately, people generally have fairly good prognoses when they get into rehab facilities that are specific to functional rehab, because it's not like traditional rehabilitation services, and when it's early intervention specifically. So he was extremely grateful that we were in so soon to this new behavior of the leg. It's only been, just over a month or so since I've been paralyzed. And wow, it's already been a month? Holy crap. Man, my world is rocked, guys. Sorry, that just blew me out of the water there for a second. It's only been a month, and sometimes people don't get this caught for years into the behavior, and then the pathway in the brain is already rewired so hardcore that it's very hard to reverse it. And so he was very hopeful that it was reversible because it was caught quickly, and that in a rehab-specific facility for functional diagnoses that they can get it tricked into behaving the correct way again. And that, brain bloop. Where'd that thought go? I don't know. Flew out the window. Essentially, we're going to go for it and see what we can do. He definitely was honest in saying that, the severity of the paralysis in terms of, usually when people have a functional diagnosis, it's their limb is weak. It just can't work the same way, but that it is still functioning. So he was honest in saying that he certainly can't guarantee me full recovery, that he has seen people with full paralysis not ever walk again, but we don't need that negativity in our life. So ultimately we're just gonna go do the rehab and see where that takes us. Control these, go to rehab for this. Come together, fight the heck out of COVID. So, he totally was also like, yeah, it sounds like COVID. Don't worry, the tests are junk. So, which was really cool. That he just kind of reaffirmed everything I've been reading and supported in my long haul group. So, yeah, we're going back up next week because I have a staph infection in my catheter, so that's awesome, fun, love that. And so we're going to go back up to the urologist specifically, and we're going to get that hopefully straightened out. Really hoping to get the catheter out completely. Even if I have to still use intermittent catheters, that would be fine. But if this truly is functional, the paralysis aspect, that means that the nerves should be firing to the bladder itself. So we just have to trick the nerves to actually stimulate, or just use catheters, and that's fine. So I'm really hoping next week goes smooth with the catheter. So that whole issue. Anyhow. And then the following week I go back up to meet with my main neurologist that I see up there, and he will be doing kind of a recap summary and then follow-up testing on the leg to see if we've made any progress. And so the bummer news is that the rehab facility for functional rehab, there are very few of them in the country that actually specialize in this, and that they are usually have really long wait lists and hard to get into. Because of the severity of the paralysis and how life-limiting it is, I got little kids, a business, you know, this is drastic as opposed to just, you know, somebody's got a twitch in their eye, something. He's giving me kind of a bumped up referral. He's hoping he can get me in sooner. So we'll see. Ultimately, the quicker I get in, the better chance I have of reversing it. So I've already decided I'm going to go look up some more physiology stuff and see what I can find as far as tricking the muscles into behaving, even if I have to figure out what stretch it is or whatnot, so I can start doing that stuff at home. And we're going to get into PT here at in-home services. I can't leave the house very well. The whole, you know, stairs and a wheelchair thing really don't mix in this place. So that's pretty much the update. Oh, and we put an offer in on a house that's wheelchair accessible so that I can live with my family and not go back to a rehab facility. You know, little things. God, praying for favor on that. We need a little good in our world right now. I don't know how the heck we're going to move all our stuff, but we need a little good, so that's where we're at. That's the update. The kids are excited to have me home. They also were like, where's the snacks? 2 seconds in, so, you know, motherhood at its finest right there. Justin, my husband, is excited to have me back home, but he's just as excited to play his video games too. That's not true. I shouldn't say that. That's his escape. It's just his coping mechanism. I'm very cool with him having video games. And secretly, I'm kind of enjoying the downtime away from him because I got used to it for 6.5 weeks. So I'm kind of like, whoa, you're too much. That, and I know he doesn't like my brightly colored leggings because it's too chaotic and busy for him, and I have secretly been loving them because they just make me so joyful. So I don't feel guilty when I'm not around him wearing these brightly colored leggings. So Secret Confessions of a Wife 101. Alright, I'm going to peace out. This video is getting long. That's my update. Other long haulers out there, stay strong. Family members, love ya. Thanks for the support. Friends in between, you know where I'm at. Peace out.